Welcome to G Fun Facts Online. Today, we are diving into the vast, blue expanse of the world's oceans. In an environment where speed and ferocity usually dictate survival, there is a family of fishes that defies every conventional rule of aquatic life. They do not dart with the lightning speed of tuna, and they definitely do not possess the crushing jaws of sharks. Instead, they drift like leaves. They are armor-plated, upright, and masters of a slow, deliberate grace that has captivated human imagination for millennia. We are talking about the family Syngnathidae, a taxonomic group containing seahorses, pipefishes, pipehorses, and seadragons. Comprising over 300 species, this family is an evolutionary marvel, representing one of the most distinct lineages in the animal kingdom. They are the only vertebrates on Earth where the male undergoes a true pregnancy, carrying developing embryos in a specialized pouch until they are ready to face the ocean alone. Their anatomy is an absolute puzzle of lost genes and unique adaptations. They have no ribs, no pelvic fins, and no teeth. Their jaws are fused into a long, tubular pipette, perfect for a lifestyle of stealth and suction. From the kelp forests of southern Australia, where hallucinogenic forms of the leafy seadragon mimic swaying seaweed, to the vibrant coral fans of Indonesia, home to the thumbnail-sized pygmy seahorse, these creatures have conquered the world's shallow coastal waters through the sheer power of camouflage and patience. Let us start by examining the anatomy of an anomaly. To understand the Syngnathidae family is to understand a creature built unlike any other fish. If you were to look at a standard biological blueprint for a fish, the seahorse and its cousins would appear to be a mistake, almost like a collection of parts borrowed from other animals and assembled by a whimsical creator. Unlike most fish, which are covered in overlapping cycloid or chenoid scales, these creatures are encased in a series of bony plates. These plates are arranged in rings that encircle the body, acting as a literal suit of armor. This dermal skeleton provides immense protection against small predators, making them crunchy and unappealing to many would-be diners. However, this impressive armor comes at a significant cost, and that cost is rigidity. A pipefish, or a seahorse, cannot bend its body with the fluid, effortless undulation of an eel or a trout. Instead, they are relatively stiff, relying entirely on specialized fins for their movement. This heavy armor also means they lack ribs. In standard vertebrates, ribs are essential to support the body wall and protect internal organs. But in seahorses and their relatives, the external bony rings take over this structural role entirely. Now, moving past their armor, the most defining feature of this family is the snout. In fact, the name Syngnathidae is derived from the Greek words syn, meaning fused, and gnathos, meaning jaw. Their jaws are literally fused into an elongated tube, finishing with a tiny, toothless mouth at the very tip. For years, scientists were baffled by this. How could such a small, toothless mouth capture elusive, lightning-fast prey like copepods and mysid shrimp? These tiny crustaceans are capable of reacting to microscopic water displacement in mere milliseconds. The answer, it turns out, lies in physics. The snout functions like a high-powered pipette, utilizing a biomechanical mechanism known as elastic recoil. By storing energy in the tendons and muscles of the head and then releasing it in a sudden explosive snap, they can rotate their heads upward at incredible speeds. This movement is actually faster than regular muscle contraction alone would ever allow. This rapid upward snap creates a sudden, intense vacuum. In less than 6 milliseconds, which is faster than the blink of a human eye, water and prey are sucked right into the snout. This method, known as pivot feeding, is so insanely fast that the prey is often trapped inside the mouth before its sensory hairs can even detect the water movement of the predator's strike. Since their bodies are encased in stiff armor, they have lost the use of their caudal, or tail, fin for forward propulsion. With the exception of some pipefish species, seahorses have lost the caudal fin entirely. Instead, they rely on a rapidly fluttering dorsal fin located on their back to push them forward, while tiny pectoral fins on the side of their head act as steering wheels and stabilizers. This dorsal fin can flutter at an astonishing 30 to 70 beats per second. This rapid beating propels the animal forward while keeping the body perfectly upright. It allows for a truly unique mode of aquatic locomotion, which is hovering. A seahorse can maneuver with the precise control of a helicopter. They can move up, down, forward, backward, or remain perfectly still to blend in seamlessly with a swaying seagrass blade. This incredible stability is absolutely crucial for their lifestyle as ambush predators. And what about that iconic tail? In seahorses and pipehorses, the tail has evolved into a prehensile grasping tool. It is a masterpiece of biological engineering. Unlike most tails, it is composed of square, rather than round, bony rings. This square geometry offers a much larger contact surface when gripping an object. Furthermore, this square architecture makes the tail incredibly resistant to crushing forces. it can be compressed significantly without damaging the vital spinal cord running inside. This allows the seahorse to anchor itself firmly to seagrass, Gorgonian corals, or even man-made nets, successfully resisting strong ocean currents that would otherwise sweep such a poor swimmer away. To truly appreciate how they got this way, we need to look at their evolutionary history. The origins of this family are deeply rooted in the Cenozoic era. Molecular dating and fossil evidence suggest they diverged from other fish lineages in the late Oligocene epoch, roughly 25 to 30 million years ago. Genetic studies indicate that the common ancestor of all modern seahorses and pipefish was likely a pouchless fish. The intricate brood pouch seen in modern seahorses is a highly derived trait, the spectacular result of millions of years of evolution. The lineage likely began with a simple pipefish-like ancestor that practiced basic external egg adherence, literally just gluing eggs to the belly of the male, before slowly evolving the complex tissues and enclosed structures we see today. The extent of their evolutionary specialization was fully revealed in 2016 when the genome of the tiger-tail seahorse was sequenced. The study provided startling insights into their genetic minimalism. It confirmed that seahorses have completely lost the genes responsible for producing enamel, beautifully explaining their toothless state. But far more intriguingly, they are entirely missing the TBX4 gene. This is a crucial genetic regulator found in almost all jawed vertebrates, responsible for the development of pelvic fins, which biologically correspond to the hind legs in land animals. The loss of the TBX4 gene suggests that the seahorse's streamlined legless shape is not just a surface-level morphological change. It is a deep, irreversible genetic deletion. Evolution essentially edited out the biological instructions for pelvic fins, likely to further streamline the body for their armor-plated, vertical, hovering lifestyle. The explosion of their diversity is also closely tied to the geological history of the Indo-Pacific region. As tectonic plates shifted over millions of years, they created vast regions of shallow, warm water, where extensive seagrass meadows began to flourish. These dense meadows provided a highly complex, three-dimensional habitat that was absolutely perfect for a small, slow-moving fish relying heavily on camouflage. The unique vertical posture of the seahorse most likely evolved as a way to mimic the upright vertical blades of seagrass, allowing them to perfectly hide in plain sight from both predators and prey. Now, we must discuss the reproductive strategy of this family, which is easily their most famous claim to fame. They are the only animals in the entire world where the male typically undergoes pregnancy. But I want to be clear here, pregnancy in this context is not just a cute metaphor. It is a true physiological reality that mirrors mammalian pregnancy in genuinely shocking ways. However, male pregnancy is not a one-size-fits-all trait across the family. There is a clear, fascinating evolutionary gradient of complexity. At the simplest end, we have the pipefish model, involving simple adherence. In many pipefish species, the female simply glues her eggs to a specialized brood patch on the male's underside. The eggs remain exposed to the open ocean, though the male might have some minor skin folds that partially cover and protect them. Moving up the complexity scale, we find the protected pouch, which is the pipehorse and seadragon model. In these species, the eggs are actively embedded into a spongy, highly vascularized patch of skin on the male's tail, forming cup-like structures around the eggs. This offers significantly more protection than simple gluing, but the eggs are still partially exposed to the surrounding seawater. Finally, we reach the pinnacle of this evolutionary journey, the sealed pouch, which is the classic seahorse model. This is the most advanced form of male pregnancy in the fish world. The male possesses a fully enclosed pouch with only a small opening. During mating, the female deposits her eggs deep inside this pouch, and the male effectively seals it shut. Once those eggs are fertilized inside the pouch, the male's body kicks into high gear. The tissue lining the inside of the pouch becomes incredibly vascularized, effectively forming a fish version of a placenta. This highly specialized tissue delivers vital oxygen directly to the developing embryos and actively removes toxic waste products like carbon dioxide and nitrogen. But the male provides much more than just a safe breathing space. Recent groundbreaking studies using radio-labeled nutrients have definitively proven that pregnant male seahorses and pipefish actively transfer energy-rich lipids and vital calcium to their growing offspring. They are literally feeding their young from their own bodily reserves. Furthermore, the father meticulously regulates the salinity within the pouch. As the pregnancy progresses toward the due date, the male slowly and carefully adjusts the osmotic pressure inside the pouch to perfectly match the surrounding seawater. This incredible biological foresight prepares the delicate embryos for the sudden shock of birth into the ocean. What is even more astounding is the hormone connection. The exact same hormones that control pregnancy in mammals, including humans, govern the pregnancy in these male fishes. Hormones like prolactin and fish equivalents of oxytocin, known as isotosin, are running the show. Prolactin actually triggers the nesting behavior and causes the physical swelling of the pouch tissue. This stands as one of the most stunning examples of convergent evolution in nature, where two completely distinct evolutionary lineages, mammals and fish, use the exact same chemical toolkit to solve the complex problem of protecting and nurturing developing young. And let us not forget the massive immunological hurdle of pregnancy. A developing embryo is genetically distinct from the parent because it carries half of the mother's DNA. Technically, the father's immune system should recognize these embryos as foreign invaders and attack them. In pregnant mammals, the mother's immune system is temporarily dampened to prevent this. Remarkably, the exact same process occurs in male seahorses. During his pregnancy, genes related to the major histocompatibility complex, which is the biological system responsible for identifying self versus non-self, are significantly downregulated. The father's body intentionally lowers its own immune defenses to avoid rejecting his own developing children. The romantic life of these creatures is just as complex and fascinating as their internal anatomy. While they are frequently cited in popular culture as ultimate icons of monogamy, the scientific truth is a bit more nuanced. Courtship in seahorses is an elaborate, highly ritualized affair that can span several days. It typically begins at the first light of dawn. The male and female will meet up, suddenly brighten their skin colors, and perform a beautiful greeting dance. They might twine their prehensile tails around the exact same holdfast and slowly wheel around each other in circles. As the female ripens with her eggs, this daily dance significantly intensifies. Eventually, they engage in a maneuver called the parallel rise. They will swim upward together through the water column, perfectly matched, belly to belly. This physical synchronization is absolutely crucial, because the female must insert her ovipositor into the male's pouch at the exact split second he opens it. If they are not perfectly aligned in the water, the precious eggs will simply spill out and be permanently lost to the ocean floor. Now, about that myth of monogamy. It is commonly said that seahorses mate for life. For many species, this is functionally true, at least for the duration of a single breeding season. A pair will faithfully greet each other every single morning, performing their dance to reinforce their pair bond, even while the male is currently pregnant. This behavior is a form of mate guarding. It ensures that the very moment the male gives birth to his brood, the female is right there, ready to deposit a brand new clutch of eggs immediately. This perfectly synchronized system maximizes the total number of offspring the pair can produce in a single season. However, if we look at many pipefish species, this dynamic is completely turned on its head. Because a female pipefish can manufacture eggs much faster than a male pipefish can brood them, the females actually have to fiercely compete for access to available males. In these polyandrous species, the females are often much larger and significantly more colorful than the males. This is a textbook, classic case of reversed sexual selection. The brightly colored females will actively display their heavily ornamented bellies, showing off to attract the highly choosy males. Let us pivot to another superpower of this family, which is camouflage. If your evolutionary path dictates that you cannot swim fast, you simply must be able to hide exceptionally well. They are without a doubt the undisputed kings of crypsis, blending into their environments flawlessly. Some rely on static camouflage, meaning they have evolved to naturally look exactly like their specific habitat. Take the alligator pipefish, for example. It possesses a heavy, triangular, distinctly green body that perfectly mimics a broken blade of seagrass. It takes the illusion so seriously that it will intentionally align its body to sway perfectly in rhythm with the ocean current. Other species utilize active color change. Similar to chameleons, many seahorses can actively alter their skin color. This incredible feat is controlled by chromatophores, which are specialized pigment-containing and light-reflecting cells embedded deep in their skin. A seahorse can be a bright, vibrant yellow to perfectly match a sea sponge, and then rapidly darken to a rusty, mottled brown if it decides to swim over to a patch of rocky rubble. This dramatic color shift can happen in a matter of seconds during intense social interactions like courtship or territorial disputes, or it can happen gradually over a period of days as they physically adapt to a brand new environment. But the absolute most extreme form of camouflage is found in the leafy seadragon. This creature is entirely endemic to the southern coastal waters of Australia, and looking at it is like looking at a mythical beast. Its entire body is covered in elaborate, leaf-like skin flaps. These bizarre appendages are not fins. They are not used for swimming or steering in any capacity. They serve one singular vital purpose, which is to visually break up the outline of the fish. When a leafy sea dragon drifts slowly over a dense kelp bed, it becomes virtually indistinguishable from a piece of floating, decaying seaweed. To truly appreciate the staggering diversity of this family, we have to highlight a few standout species. We already mentioned the Pygmy seahorse, a creature so incredibly tiny it was only discovered entirely by accident in 1969 by a scientist who was examining a Gorgonian coral in a lab. Measuring under 2 centimeters, it is practically invisible to the naked eye in the wild. It lives its entire life exclusively on fan corals of the genus Muracella. It has evolved into 2 distinct color morphs to match its host perfectly. One morph is a pale gray, covered in bright red tubercles to mimic one specific coral species, while the other is yellow with orange tubercles to mimic a different species. The bumps on the seahorse's tiny body perfectly mirror the size and shape of the closed coral polyps. They are so incredibly specialized to their specific coral host that they will quickly perish if placed on the wrong type of coral. Then there is the ribboned pipehorse, often enthusiastically referred to by marine biologists as the missing link between standard pipefish and the elaborate seadragons. Found dwelling in the waters of northern Australia and Indonesia, this creature essentially looks like a pipefish that has been mercilessly put through a paper shredder. Its long body is completely covered in branching weed-like appendages much like a seadragon, but unlike the seadragon, it still retains that highly useful prehensile tail. It is an absolute master of camouflage, hidden within algal beds, and is incredibly rarely seen by scuba divers due to its secretive, highly cryptic nature. Another scientific marvel is the Gulf pipefish. Native to the Gulf of Mexico, it might not be as visually stunning as the leafy seadragon, but it is a heavyweight in the scientific community. It has become a crucial model organism for researchers actively studying the complex evolution of male pregnancy. It is one of the very few members of this family to have its entire genome completely sequenced, which is actively helping scientists unlock the deep genetic secrets of how these unusual traits came to be. However, despite their millions of years of evolutionary success, these magical creatures are currently facing a massive, unprecedented crisis. Their extreme reliance on highly specific habitats and their incredibly slow movement make them devastatingly vulnerable to human activity. The single largest threat driving seahorses toward extinction is the massive global trade for traditional Chinese medicine. Dried seahorses are historically believed to cure a wide range of human ailments, from severe asthma to impotence, a belief stemming largely from their perceived virile nature as pregnant males. Current estimates suggest that tens of millions of seahorses are ripped from the oceans and harvested annually to feed this insatiable trade. Even though strict international bans and trade regulations exist on paper, a massive, highly lucrative black market continues to thrive globally. On top of the medicinal trade, there is the curio and aquarium trade. Countless dried seahorses are tragically sold as cheap souvenirs in coastal beach towns, often shellacked and glued onto tacky crafts. Historically, the live aquarium trade also took a devastatingly heavy toll. Wild-caught seahorses notoriously rarely survive for long in a home aquarium. They have highly specialized dietary needs, strictly requiring live food, and they are massively susceptible to stress-induced diseases. Thankfully, the recent rise of successful captive breeding programs has begun to reduce the intense pressure on wild populations. Captive-bred seahorses are significantly hardier, disease-resistant, and are already happily accustomed to eating frozen foods. But even if we stop all direct harvesting, there is still the monumental issue of habitat destruction. Seahorses and pipefish make their homes in the vital nursery zones of our oceans. These include shallow seagrass beds, dense mangrove forests, and vibrant coral reefs. Tragically, these are the exact environments most heavily threatened by rapid coastal development, unchecked industrial pollution, and catastrophic global climate change. Expansive seagrass beds are routinely dredged up to build marinas. Mangrove forests are clear-cut to make way for commercial shrimp farming operations. Coral reefs are suffering massive, unprecedented bleaching events due to rising ocean temperatures. When a seahorse's highly specific home is destroyed, it cannot simply swim away to find a new one. Because they are deeply sight-faithful and notoriously poor swimmers, they inevitably die right alongside their habitat. We also cannot ignore the devastating impact of global bycatch. Because they live mostly on the very bottom of the ocean floor, they are frequently scooped up in commercial shrimp trawls. These massive, completely non-selective nets scour the ocean bottom, brutally scooping up absolutely everything in their destructive path. Millions upon millions of seahorses die as unintended bycatch every single year, either casually discarded overboard as useless trash, or opportunistically sold into the dried medicine trade for extra profit. For anyone deeply captivated by these underwater dragons, keeping them in a home aquarium remains a tempting, albeit incredibly challenging, prospect. They are firmly categorized as expert-level pets for a very specific reason. One major hurdle is their completely unique digestive system. Simply put, they have no stomach. Food passes through their short digestive tract incredibly rapidly, which means they must eat almost constantly throughout the day just to avoid starvation. Out in the wild, they will lazily graze on thousands upon thousands of tiny copepods from dawn until dusk. Trying to provide this massive volume of continuous nutrition in a captive setting is incredibly difficult. They are also notoriously slow, highly deliberate eaters. If a well-meaning aquarist places a seahorse in a tank with fast-moving aggressive eaters like clownfish or tangs, the seahorse will almost certainly starve to death. The faster fish will aggressively consume all the available food long before the seahorse can even physically focus its eyes on a single morsel. Yet, despite all these incredible challenges, there is still a powerful glimmer of hope. Public aquariums and highly dedicated private breeders across the globe have made massive, unprecedented strides in successfully culturing these animals. Species like the lined seahorse and the pot-bellied seahorse are now being routinely and reliably bred in closed captive systems. This incredible success not only responsibly supplies the global pet trade without harming the ocean, but it also actively provides a crucial lifeboat population. If wild populations were to completely crash in the future, these healthy captive stocks could theoretically be used for targeted reintroduction programs, although the biological realities of doing so remain incredibly complex. In conclusion, the Syngnathidae family stands as a profound testament to the absolutely endless creativity of natural evolution. They completely challenge and rewrite our rigid definitions of what a fish can actually be, and even more profoundly, what a parent can be. They are creatures composed entirely of beautiful paradoxes. They are heavily armored, yet incredibly fragile. They are evolutionarily slow, yet deeply successful. They are globally widespread, yet incredibly, almost magically invisible in their natural homes. As we look forward to the uncertain future of our world's oceans, the humble seahorse and the cryptic pipefish stand as vital ecological bellwethers. Their overall health and survival are tied absolutely inextricably to the health of our shallow coastal seas. To successfully save them is to save the vital seagrass meadows that sequester our atmospheric carbon. It is to save the dense mangroves that protect our fragile human shorelines from brutal storms. And it is to preserve the vibrant coral reefs that feed the vast majority of our ocean's biodiversity. They are the true dragons of the real world. Their magic does not lie in an ability to breathe fire or hoard gold, but rather in their quiet, highly specialized, and deeply enduring ability to survive against all possible odds. Protecting these unique creatures is not merely a matter of simple ecological conservation. It is a fundamental matter of preserving the pure, unadulterated wonder of the natural world for generations to come. Thank you for tuning in to Fun Facts Online. Keep exploring and stay curious.